Hello, welcome to my booktube. My name is Elle. Since I'm new here, or at least new to posting, I've been a long time lurker. I thought I would do the Book Talk Newbie questions tag. Number one, why did I make this channel? I've been a lifetime reader, and while I've lurked on Booktube a lot, I never felt comfortable stepping out and making my own account. However, over the past 2 years, I've really gotten comfortable on Book Talk. The short form version, I think, was a great way of stepping into this space, and now I would love to continue doing that, maybe go more in depth with videos. Also, I realized I was waiting until Sunday and I would batch film videos of everything I'd read during that week, and I thought, why not just do one long form video every week about what I read. Also, given, the ban, I like video based content the best. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It really affects my hands. So anything with like typing or trying to edit cute little pictures is really tough for me. So video based content is the easiest. And I was like, you know what? It's time to start on YouTube. Number two, what makes me unique? I don't know if it's really unique. I read a ton. Last year, I read about 250 books. I typically read at least 200 books a year. I don't think I will hit 250 again this year. I will not hesitate to DNF something that I am not interested in. If it's not for me, it's not for me, and I'm going to move on. But when I talk about books, what works about them, what doesn't, I also try to keep in mind, who is this book for? Who would enjoy this book? Who is this book not for? Why may you not like this book? And I try to incorporate that in my reviews as well, because I don't think that there's anyone out there who is going to love every single book that I love. So I try to incorporate that as well. Also, about 60% of the books I read last year were diverse reads. So if you're looking to read more diversely, I have so many great recommendations. Number three, what am I most excited about with this page? A few different things. I don't know if there's one thing I'm most excited about, but I really am excited to go more in depth with some of the books that I really love. I would love more space than just like a couple minutes to talk about certain books. However, I'm also really, really excited to do some tier ranking videos. I love watching those, and I've been wanting to do a few of them for so long. So I'm excited to do some of those as well once I figure out how to do it. Number four, what do I think will be most challenging? I think that is simply starting over on a new platform. That is always so hard, building back up again. I've been on Book Talk for 2 years, and never once during that time did I ever ask anyone to follow me. I am someone who does not feel comfortable asking people to follow or subscribe, so I think that's going to be very hard. Also, just learning a new platform. Even though I've been lurking and watching Booktube a lot, I feel like it feels different stepping out and actually filming and posting things on this app. So it's a little bit daunting, not gonna lie. Number five, when did I start reading? I have been a lifelong reader. I learned how to read, I picked up a book, and I never put books back down. I used to take a duffel bag with me to the library every week, and I would fill it up with books. I would take it home, I would read all of them, and I'd go back again. My bachelor's degree is in English, and I am still a voracious reader. Number six, what type of books do I like? I am all over the place. I love variety. I will read for any reason: entertainment, escapism, to learn something, to challenge myself. So I will read for all of the reasons, whether it's just like a candy book or it's like a more challenging book. I love them all. My favorite genres, I love dark academia across all genres. I also really love anything gothic. When it comes to fantasy, I'm a huge fantasy reader. It's probably what I read the most of. I love political fantasy. I also love anything fairy tale or steeped in mythology. My undergraduate degree was in English, but I did a concentration on children's literature. So specifically, I studied mythology, folklore, fairy tales, stuff like that. And I love anything with that bent to it. Apologies, my tiny mic died. It is on the charger, but I figured I'm here. Let's just keep going. For other books I like, for horror, I'm pretty picky. I tend to lean more towards diverse voices, but again, I like anything that's either gothic or really character-driven. For romance, I'm not the biggest contemporary romance reader, but I'll pick one up every now and then as a palate cleanser. I tend to prefer romance more when it comes to fantasy, so I read it more in that. For mysteries and thrillers, I love books that are unrealistic. Give me a high concept plot or a book about teenagers solving crime. I don't want it to be too realistic, because then it reminds me too much of real life. But every now and then I'll find a book that really intrigues me. I recently read Bright Young Women, and I love that book, so there are always exceptions to that. For literary fic, I tend to prefer more diverse voices again. I'm looking to read more outside of the US with that this year. And then nonfiction, I usually read about 10%, but last year it was only 7% nonfiction. which leads me to number 7, and that is where do I read? And I will read anywhere. I'm that person who always has a book on me. I will listen to audiobooks while I'm walking my dog. I'll read on my couch. I'll read in bed. I'll read while I'm working out. If I can squeeze in a few pages or a few minutes, I will do that. Number 8, what are some of my favorite books? That is an impossible question. I can tell you some of my favorite books from last year. Maybe I'll do a whole top 10 of the books I liked last year, but my top 3 would probably be Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wong, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. Lots of MLs in this, and I also really loved A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, but I'll maybe insert a clip of some of the books I really loved last year. Here are some of the books that I enjoyed reading in 2024, at least out of the ones that I own. I do borrow a lot from my library, and we're starting with fantasy. We also have a couple dystopian books thrown in there. And then moving on to mystery and thriller. This is a good mix of what I enjoy. And then we have a couple contemporary and romance novels as well. Number 9, what format do I like to read? I am in the minority in that I genuinely prefer a hardcover, but again, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It really affects my hand, so it is kind of comical watching me try to read a paperback book because I cannot grip it. I'll drop it, it slips out of my fingers, I lose my place. It's not a very fun experience, so I do tend to prefer hardcovers because they get to sit in my hands, and I also listen to audiobooks a lot. I try to get into e-readers, but I also struggle with that because again, my hands are really clumsy, like clumsier than a YA protagonist clumsy, so that tends to just frustrate me as well. So yeah, I'm in the minority in that I genuinely prefer hardcovers, but we all like the formats we like and they're all wonderful. However people read more is wonderful. And lastly, number 10, what does my book collection look like? This is some of my books, not all of them. I told myself that if in December I could read 31 books in 31 days, I would let myself buy another bookshelf, and I did it, and my bookshelf is going to be delivered on Wednesday, so I figured I would put that together, rearrange everything, and then do a whole bookshelf tour video. So anyway, that is all I have for now. I'm really excited about this next bookish journey, and if you want to follow along, I'm not going to ask you to follow me because I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I'm going to keep posting on here anyway. I'm thinking I'm going to be posting definitely weekly reading recaps, probably every Monday. I definitely want to post some of those tier videos, but like I said, once I figure out how to actually do them, and then a few books I want to go a lot more in depth on. Maybe I'll do a whole video on my 31 books in 31 days. But I have a lot of ideas. I just have to actually start filming them. I also recently read the entire Inheritance Game saga, so I do want to make a video on that as well. So those are some of the video ideas that I have coming.